And here now with more, New York Congressman Peter King, who serves on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here tonight. In terms of what you heard yesterday, and obviously we know it was a classified briefing, but just to characterize, was Mr. McCabe forthcoming when you asked him about bias that may or may not exist in the FBI with regards to the Trump investigation?
I don't believe that adequate answers were given. I'll just leave it at that. I think there's a lot of so many unanswered questions, or at least questions which have not been resolved. For instance, the whole question of the dossier. What role did that play, if any, as far as the investigation being commenced? I mean, we sort of take for granted that, this was an investigation against the presidential campaign. This is almost unprecedented. And I remember last year when we were told why it was begun, we were talking about all of these contacts, unprecedented contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia. Well, it turns out there were virtually none, and none of any substance. Then you have the dossier coming in as to what role that played, if any, and I have to be careful on this, when the court, the FISA court, allowed warrants.
Well, let me ask you a question about that, because it's my understanding that the Democrats were looking for some evidence of collusion in their questioning yesterday. They wanted McCabe to confirm that they had every reason to do that unmasking, and that the only thing that he mentioned that came out of the dossier was that Carter Page took a trip to Moscow. Well, we all knew that Carter Page took a trip to Moscow. So if that is all that they got out of that, that's not a whole heck of a lot.
Well, first of all, let me tell you, Carter Page's trip to Moscow, there was absolutely nothing there. That's clear. We know that now. And to use that as any kind of excuse at all, even if that was only one of the bits of evidence they used, to rely on that anyway, to me was
But was that the only thing that he mentioned in terms of substantive information that they got?
No, it was not the only one, but to me, the other items you mentioned also, to me, do not add up to anything.
All right.
There's serious questions. Certainly not enough to warrant going to a court, certainly not enough to warrant an investigation of a presidential candidate, and then have that investigation continue. No.
So the text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page are public record now. They are out there. Let's put one of them up on the screen that is of particular interest in terms of what was going on here and whether or not there was any sort of coordinated effort to do something against the Trump administration. I want to believe, he said, the path that you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected, he being President Trump. But I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event that you die before you're 40. Did he confirm yesterday that Andy's office is his office?
Again, I was not there when he confirmed it. I think he did, but again, I can't be certain on that. I just know that he did not adequately answer any of those type of questions. And by the way, on this one, let me just say, for now 4 months now, at least, longer than that, our committee, the House Intelligence Committee, has been asking for all these records. We didn't get any of them until we had to go to court to get them. And the FBI should be cooperating with us. The Justice Department should be cooperating with us. But these key emails, text messages, just the fact that these people were involved, none of that would be given to us. We had to fight for everything. And this, what are they trying to cover up? What's the, why are they obstructing a committee from doing its lawful work on a matter which is so vital to the country and to the world, for that matter?
I mean, but just to circle back for a moment, you say you weren't there when this was confirmed, but it's your understanding that he did confirm that he is the Andy in the office?
I really don't want to say that officially because I'm not certain, but I mean that was the impression I had. But I don't want to say that definitively.
Okay. So what's next in terms of these subpoenas? And I guess the American people watch this whole thing and they say, well, we fund the FBI, we fund the Department of Justice. Why is all? And I know Congress is very frustrated that you're not getting the documents from the FBI and the Department of Justice about what their feelings or involvement may have been in any effort to be against the Trump administration. The American people feel the same way. Are we going to see any sort of open hearings from or from Strzok on these issues?
I think you'll have open hearings if depending on what we learn in the closed meeting, because it is important that we do this closed because, again, this is part of an ongoing investigation. We don't necessarily want other witnesses to know everything that's being said in there, so they can't tailor their stories to it. But I just say this is, to me, based on what we were told back in January and February about all these extensive contacts, how petrified everyone was of the involvement with the Trump campaign and Russia. Yeah. So far, we've seen nothing. If they're relying on Carter Page, or if they're relying on a dossier, by the way, which has never, ever been confirmed, there's virtually no way to back up what, any significant point that's in there. And the points we do look at, they turn out to be nothing.
Yeah. I got to go, but just before I let you go, was there anything in Andrew Cabe's open testimony before Congress that he contradicted in the closed session yesterday?
I really can't say, Martha.
All right,
Rather
Peter
not.
King.
Okay?
Understood. Thank you very much, Congressman. Always good to have you with us.